Welcome to another episode of Lingoku. Today we're going to focus on nouns, and we're going to have three learning objectives. The first is going to be, we want to define a noun. Then we're going to look at how do we classify nouns. And finally, we're going to look at what's the function of nouns in a sentence. So now we want to look at nouns. Nouns can be things like people, places, things, or ideas. Okay, so let's look at each of these in turn. So people, think of maybe a teacher, Miss Jessie, would be a noun. A librarian, a teacher, a student. Places, think of Jakarta, library, a university, cafeteria. Things, such as a laptop, a pen, a desk, and ideas. So something like knowledge, attention, information. All of these are examples of nouns. Classifying nouns. We can classify nouns as being singular or plural, proper or common, count or non-count, abstract or concrete, collective, compound, or as gerunds. Now we're going to look at how to classify nouns as being either singular or plural. Singular meaning that you have one of something, and plural that you have more than one of something. To make plural of most singular nouns, what we're going to do is add an S. So for example, book becomes books, chair becomes chairs, and phone becomes phones. And all we do here is add an S at the end of the singular noun to make it plural. Now, if the noun ends in an S already, or a CH, or an SH, or an X, or a Z, then we're going to make it plural by adding ES. So bus becomes buses, which becomes witches, wish becomes wishes, box becomes boxes, and quiz, which ends in Z, becomes quizzes by adding ES. So we're going from a singular to a plural. If the noun finishes in a Y, then what we're going to do here is we're going to take out the Y, add an I, and then add an ES. So baby becomes babies by taking out the Y, adding an I, and then an ES. Sky becomes skies, and city becomes cities. Now there are many irregular nouns in English. So to make the plural of these is a little trickier because, for example, when you have something like person, person is people. So the plural of person is people. The plural of man is men. Of tooth is teeth, and of fish is fish, although some textbooks will say that fishes is also okay. So let's look at common and proper nouns. So a common noun is like people, places, and things, and a proper noun refers to a specific item and will always be capitalized. So let's look at some examples of common and proper nouns. A common noun would be superhero. But a proper noun would be Wonder Woman. So one is just more general, and the other one is more specific. We could have a common noun as river, and a proper noun would be a specific river, like Kapuas River. Holiday would be a common noun. Lebaran, a specific holiday, would be a proper noun. Day, common noun. Monday, a proper noun. Language, a common noun. And then we could have French or Bahasa as our proper noun. Concrete and abstract nouns is another way we can classify nouns. A concrete noun you can touch, feel, taste, and see. And they can be either countable or non-countable. So some examples of countable would be like orange, desk, book, car, house. These are all nouns you can count. You can count the number of oranges or number of desks in the room. Non-count would be things such as rice, water, pasta. You can't count these things, okay? On the other hand, abstract nouns are or refer to concepts, ideas, and emotions. And these are nouns which we can't touch. So examples of nouns that are abstract are success, depression, love, hate, anger. Here's an example. Ursa has had a lot of success this year. So success is an abstract noun. You can't touch it. Love is in the air. Similar thing. It's an abstract noun. count and non-count nouns. Count nouns are those that you can count. So nouns such as books, chairs, apples. And non-count nouns are those that you can't count, such as rice, furniture, advice. However, we can make non-count nouns countable if we add a quantifier. So for example, even though rice is a non-count noun, if I add the quantifier grains of, I can make it count. So I could write a sentence such as, I have many grains of rice on my plate, and the quantifier grains of takes rice from non-count to count. Or I could say something like, I want 2 cups of coffee. Okay, so coffee is a non-count noun, but by putting the quantifier cups of, I can make it count. Or let me give you a piece of advice. Okay, piece of makes advice from non-count to countable, or there are 2 pieces of furniture in the room. And again, here by saying piece of, we can make a non-count noun such as furniture count. Let's talk about collective nouns. So collective nouns refer to groups of various types. Commonly, they're used with groups of animals. So for example, we might talk about a herd of cows or a pack of wolves. Collective nouns are also used for names of institutions and groups within institutions. So for example, when we talk about staff or party or department or team, these are examples of collective nouns. So we could write something like the sales department is meeting, the collective noun is department, and note that collective nouns take singular verbs. Even though we think of department as having many people or staff or team, they always take a singular verb. Nouns can also be classified as compound nouns. And a compound noun is made up of 2 or more words. Let's take a look at some examples. Some could be just one word made up of 2 words. So words like toothpaste, haircut, bedroom. You can see that those compound nouns are made up of 2 words. In the example of toothpaste, tooth and paste, then hair and cut, and then bed and room. That's a compound noun. We can also have a compound noun that's connected with a hyphen. So an example here would be sister-in-law. So the 2 hyphens there make it a compound noun. Or dry cleaning. That's a compound noun as well. And then finally, we can also have compound nouns that are made up of 2 separate words. So examples of this would be compound nouns such as full moon, Christmas tree, or swimming pool. So that's a little bit more about compound nouns. And finally, we can look at gerunds. Gerunds is when the ing form of the verb is used as a noun. So let's look at 2 examples. If I write down cheating is not good, then we have the verb cheat. And by adding the ing, we've made it a gerund. And so cheating in this case is used as a noun. Or we have running is good exercise. Here again, we have the verb run, but by having the ing form, running, now in this sentence, running is acting as a noun. So we've looked at how to classify nouns. Now let's talk about noun endings and position in sentence. We can have different noun endings. For example, ity in the word nationality, ment as in the word appointment, ness as in happiness, ation as in relation, or hood as in childhood. Now there are exceptions. For example, the ful ending could be a noun or it could be an adjective. It just depends on the word. So for example, spoonful would be a noun, but careful would be an adjective. So here's a situation where just knowing the ending doesn't help tell you if the word would be a noun or an adjective. Okay, now nouns come after a determiner. So it's a pretty good bet that if you have a determiner, the word following it is going to be a noun. For example, determiners such as an, the, this, my, and such Let's look at some words that go together with these determiners. A book, the girl, this table, my car, such happiness. Well, in these situations, all the words that come after the determiners are nouns. What is the grammatical function of a noun? Well, a noun can be a subject of a verb, or it could be the object of a verb. It could also be the object of a preposition, or the complement of a verb. So let's take a look at some examples. For subject of a verb, if I write the sentence students work hard, then students is a subject of the verb work. Or if I say Mr. David teaches English in Jakarta, then the noun Mr. David is a subject of the verb teaches. Now, if it's an object of a verb, I could write I hate homework, and in this case, the noun homework is the object of the verb hate. Or if I say Ursa lost the book, then the noun book is the object of the verb lost. We could also talk about the grammatical function of a noun as being the object of a preposition. So if I write the sentence, the teacher yelled at the students, then the preposition at, we have students as the noun that is the object of the preposition at. Or he gave his homework to the teacher. So teacher is a noun and it's the object of the preposition to. It could also be a complement of a verb. So here we have, for example, linking verbs such as is, are, am, be, was, were, been, seen, taste, feel, appear. I could write, I was an English teacher while living in Jakarta. And then we have the linking verb was, and we have the noun teacher. So in this example, teacher is the complement of the verb was. If I write the sentence, Chomsky is a famous linguist, then I have the linking verb is, and linguist is the complement of the linking verb is. English grammar. Introduction to nouns. Student and teacher worksheets available at lingoku.com.